What's up, guys? Pittsburgh White Schwartz back again with yet another Rush Rundown. This time, we're going to go over Prisma Illya in the English competitive metagame. This will be a quick, concise overview of Prilya's strengths, weaknesses, and notable cards that you need to know in order to effectively play into it, all in 10 minutes or less. While these aren't meant to be totally comprehensive, we've included a lot of information in this video about Prilya, so feel free to pause and read the slides if we're moving a bit too fast. Alright, getting right into it. Prilya is a set that is basically just a finishing combo in English. This set can do basically nothing other than kill you. However, it kills you really good when it pops off. It relies on having large amounts of a specific climax in your hand for the cost of the final combo, but it gives every single one of the characters on their center stage on attack burn 1, and then that stacks. And they can do that up to 4 times. So you can imagine how that can just delete you from even very low level 2, almost Konosuba levels of death. Prisma Illya doesn't care about getting reverses at any level, but it is going to try to hold board with its 1/1 Kuro walls if it can, using this one backup that can get to fairly high power levels, but otherwise it's not really going to care about your board too much. It just wants to kill you. Moving into the cards, we're going to start with the main combo that every single Prilya deck runs. This card is a costless summon for a 1/1 Kuro wall, notably when they attack with the Kuro that they summon, if they do it on the same turn. If they don't have 3 or more stock, the card instantly dies. This is basically the only way the deck has to generate some sort of advantage of a Climax Combo, and this Climax Combo is also off pants, which is a big reason why they run it. The deck is 8 pants, so they can keep pulling those last card sabers back to their hand, so that they can do their finishing combo more consistently and with more burns. Other than that, combo is pretty lackluster. The only other thing to remember is that the another Illya Kuro that it summons does count as an Illya quote-unquote for their backup, so that's something to remember. Moving on to this is one of the only times that Prilya is going to care about reverse. So this is their Ricky. This is when it gets a reverse, they pay 1, clock themselves, salvage a character. So just something to keep in mind. Don't leave like a reverse or something like that if you're trying to deny this. This is basically one of the only ways they have to plus at 0. The other card over here on the left, it's kind of similar. It gives them stock when they get a reverse with it. It's a 3K, just blind stock off the top of their deck. But it has another drawback where when you kill it, then you get to blind stock off the top of your deck, and they'll probably tell you when they put the card down, but then if you whiff it later, it's on you. So make sure you don't whiff your free stock if you want it. Moving on to this tech card. So this shows up at like maybe 1 to 3 count, depending on the list. This Inapinch Illya is a Takitsubo profile. It is a pay 1, clock yourself, and rest this card. But instead of a plus, like a normal Takitsubo or repeatable Ricky, it chooses a character on your stage and stuns it, just like ReZero. It's one of those effects that's either very useful or not useful at all. So just something to keep in mind. The big thing here is that you aren't going to be able to level lock Prilya when they throw this down. They can just always get themselves to the next level, and locking them out of doing their finishing combo is a very common form of counterplay. So just something to keep in mind as a self-clock effect. Another thing Prilya has access to, like a lot of older sets, is a 5 or less free fresh. This one gives a character on their board 3k until the end of your turn. So this card specifically could sit a 10-5 cross turn, which is pretty big for Prilya. Their other cards don't get very big. Just notable that they can sort of refresh their deck if they seem like they're not going to be able to do their combo because they can't get into their climaxes. Just be aware they can very easily reset their deck, get through it with some repeated but costed mill, and then try to dig for their class cards on play with their 3/2s. So it's really hard to just completely lock Prilya out of being able to go for their combo, but maybe you can lessen it a little bit, but you're not going to stop them from being able to get into a new deck. Moving on, we have this one, another tech card. So this is a coin flip attack to remove your back row. They do have plenty of ways to check the top card of their deck to ensure that this effect will go off if they need it. Prilya basically has no way to vie for board outside of the 1/1 Kuros, so if they can get some sort of attack that hampers your strategy in some way without having to pay out some of their stock or things like that, since this is just hand, it's something that they might go for, especially if you're a deck that crutches on back row. So if you see it, hold extra copies of your notable back row cards so that this card doesn't screw you, because like I said, they have ways to set their top of deck, so if they need this effect to go off, they'll do so. So this is the finisher, Kaleidoscope Illya and Kaleidoscope Mew. So this is one of the most explosive finishers in the game. It's just an on-attack burn 1 for every single class card saber that your opponent ditches. Now that's a climax. So the big drawback to running this combo, your opponent is hoarding all of these Climax cards in their hand, so their refreshes aren't going to be that great sometimes if they're holding them over refresh or they're forced to make awkward plays. But the thing is, if Prilya doesn't die, they're probably going to kill you. The way that Prilya players build their decks is in a way so that this combo will barely ever fizzle, because they're always going to be milling a level 1 or lower off the top. Not much that you can do about it unless you're playing GGO or Memory Snow, since GGO will mill the top card of their deck and you have a coin flip away for you to not take damages in instance of 1, or Memory Snow just turns it off completely. There's no way to stop it. You just sort of compress and pray. If they get there, they get there, and if they don't, they're definitely dead. This is the whole reason why anyone still plays Prilya. Moving on to counters, the 2 on the right you don't need to worry about. One sends you to jail, the other one's a 1500 counter, basic counter, the other one's a 3-5 counter. Those don't matter at all. The only one that you'll ever stand a chance of actually seeing is the Maid Outfit Miyu. It's a 1-1 backup with only 500 base power, but it gives an additional 500 multiplied by the characters on your field with Illya or Miyu in their card name. Now remember, that does count the 1-1 Kuro based on how it is named. So that's the one you have to watch out for. Other than that, Prilya decks don't run these other backups. They do have an option to clear your early play, which is this weird card where it's like on play, they pay 1, clock themselves, and pitch a card, and just send one of your level 3 or lower characters to the bottom of your deck in main phase. Pretty nasty, but since Prilya decks try to cut down on the levels of 2s and 3s that they run so that their combos don't fizzle, this isn't very common. However, if you see it, they're probably going to use it, and it's another way for them to clock themselves so that they don't get stuck at a level if you're trying to strand them. Common builds, the Kaleidoscope build. They run the Illya being toyed around with to summon the Kuro, and then the class card and Kaleidoscope Illya at the top. This is basically the only build. The only other builds that we've even been able to see that exists are this 2-1 Kuro, which is a stock charge, and this Protect Daily Life, which also combos with the Another Me, which is for the level 1 in the other deck, that is a pseudo restand combo with another level 3. But you'll never see that one. You're only going to see the Kaleidoscope deck. Wrapping up, so Prilya has lots of self-clock effects. They have the Takitsubo, they have the Riki that goes off when it gets a reverse. That timing's a little weird. The Takitsubo and these other self-clock effects like that 2-1 that I showed are the big reasons why you're not going to be able to level lock the set. So going for level locks is really risky against Prilya because they probably have a way out of it. They don't really have any way to deal with early plays at all outside of that 2-1 that no one really runs. So feel free to just spam early plays. They can't really win board past level 1 anyway. Most popular build, definitely Kaleidoscope 8 Pants. The only reason to play the set at all is to play that finisher. Most valuable card is definitely the class card Saber Climax, because they're always going to try to add that card to their hand and have extra copies, which will make their refreshes worse, so something to watch out for. Set is strong at killing you from the bottom of level 2 with repeated burns for 1. As I said, you can die from extremely early against Prilya if they are lucky enough to pop off. They are going to dig super hard with their 3/2s that both draw 2, ditch 1 on play, as well as the Miyu will top check 5. So they have a lot of ways to just dig into their class cards on that turn, as opposed to holding them and stuff like that. So if they do hold them, you have ways to kill them, but otherwise they're probably just going to go for it all in one go. The set is weak at pretty much everything else, though. It can't really do anything. Its profiles are bad. They're old. It can't hold board. It doesn't plus very well. It doesn't have a good brainstorm. Card quality is generally very low. But thankfully, the set popularity is also super low because of these problems. So you don't have to care about that super crazy combo, because you will rarely ever see this deck at an actual event. Probably a lot more common at locals or when people want to play a deck to have fun, because killing people from 2 is probably pretty fun. And that's basically Prilya. If you liked the video, drop a like or a comment to let us know how we did. That really helps us out. We'll be releasing more Rush Rundowns on Mondays and Wednesdays with our usual deck techs on Fridays. Along with these links that you see on the screen that we drop at the end of all our videos, we will link some sample deck lists for Prilya below in the description if you'd like more in-depth examples of what you'd see if you ran into this set at a shop challenge or a regional. With that, I think we're done. Pittsburgh White Schwartz signing off. We'll see you all in the next one.